Here's a picture of the nearly complete background building that I'll make in this video. As I was working on this project to make the commercial building in O-scale, I really became disappointed with my original wall sheet of bricks, and I decided to make a new one. To compound the problem, when I made the mold, some of the mortar lines were not included. Also, my very old Alumarez casting resin had gone bad and wasn't making very good copies. The Alumarez white has a very short working time, about 2 minutes, and it cures in about 10. This is not a sufficient amount of time to get the bubbles out of the mold. I made 5 sheets of brick before I ultimately gave up on the Alumarez, but I decided to go ahead and make walls anyway. So I made a brick arch master and cut it into the window slots and door openings of my defective pieces. To cover up the defects, I laid on a thin layer of plaster and then sanded it smooth. With a wet cloth, I then went back over it to reinforce the mortar lines. A lot of defects were still present, but it's satisfactory for a background building. Since all of this project is scratch built, I had to make my own windows and doors. So I found a building in town that gave me some nice examples of each. So using a steel plate, some flat magnets, and a machinist square, I started to make my own windows and doors. Here's the results of my first attempt to make doors in O-scale. I decided to make a very simple single hung sash window. I made a silicone mold of my original and then began casting duplicates using the old Alumarez with rather disappointing results. I decided to paint my window frames with rattle can spray paint in a dark green. I sprayed a coat of red oxide primer on the front and rear wall and didn't like it. I couldn't sand it off because I would lose mortar row height. So I got some naphtha on a rag and began to rub it off. It didn't quite all come off, but it left a nice patina on the bricks that were there. I liked the effect enough that I took the damp rag with paint on it and spread it over the sidewalls. I used a carpenter's corner clamp to hold the walls so that I could put a 45-degree bevel. I think this will give me an acceptable joint for a background building. I then used quarried stone for the wall cap, brick sheet for the inside of the wall, and a strip of styrene as a support for the roof to come. I finished the interior walls using free downloadable dollhouse wallpaper. Final construction began by using contact cement on the beveled corner between the wall castings. These were held in position to dry using picture frame clamps. The roof for the building is just a piece of sheet styrene. The tar paper on the roof is blue masking tape, spray painted with a combination of beige and gray. A machinist square is used to make sure that the rolls of tar paper go on straight. At some point, the project just simply has to end. This is, after all, a background building. There are crevices to be patched and details to be added. There's acetate for the windows and a final dusting of chalks to weather the building. But I think that for now, I'll wrap this one up and let you just take a look at some of the final pictures. Thanks again for watching.